morning, everybody. So we are going to have a very intense day. First, we have the Foreign Affairs Council for Defense, where we're going to discuss the implementation of the white paper. And then we will have a Foreign Affairs Council where we have topics Ukraine, Syria, and the Middle East. So first on Ukraine. I think it is important, as we have all said, 27 of us, that there has to be full and unconditional ceasefire. Ukraine has already agreed to this 60 days or more than 60 days ago, and we have agreed that if Russia does not agree, what we saw yesterday, then we will put more pressure. So we will agree on the 17th package of sanctions today, but we continue on working on the next strong package of sanctions to put more pressure on Russia so that they would also want peace. And then on Syria, I hope that we will agree on the lifting of economic sanctions today, and then, of course, it's going to be a very, very hard discussion on Gaza and what is happening there. So the Dutch minister has put forward a proposal to do the review of Article 2 of our association agreement with Israel, and we will discuss this. I can't predict the outcome of this discussion, but I think what is important, where we all have similar views, is that the humanitarian aid should reach Gaza as soon as possible. Of course, Israel's decision to let some of the aid in is a drop of the ocean. It's welcomed, but it's not enough. There are thousands of trucks behind the borders waiting. It is European money that has funded this humanitarian aid, and it has to reach the people because the situation is extremely grave. Thank you.
What's your reaction to the call between President Trump and President Putin? Are you concerned that America and President Trump are too soft on Russia?
Well, we all agreed and said, and we also heard statements from United States that, if they don't agree to unconditional ceasefire, like Ukraine has agreed over 60 days ago, there will be strong action. And that is what we want to see from all the parties who have said that they will act in accordance. Of course, on the European side, we have the statements of 27 that if Russia doesn't agree, then we will put more pressure, so we will continue with that.
How will you make sure that the sanction package will be...
President von der Leyen has mentioned, there are sanctions regarding the oil price cap, the energy, also banking sector, the sanctions that will hurt Russia's economy. By the way, today in the Foreign Affairs Council, we also have the intelligence report about how well Russia's economy is doing. And what we hear is that they are coming to the point where actually they have to rely on the supply chain. So the effect of the sanctions will be even bigger in the coming months. Yes. We have been working regarding the lifting of sanctions for Syria already since at the beginning of this year. Trying to help the Syrian people, because when the Assad regime fell, it is clear that we want there to be jobs and livelihood for the people, so that it would be a more stable country. And that's why, in order to have that, we need to lift the sanctions. Of course, we have had some very intense discussions. There are worries about, whether the government is going to the right direction, but I think we don't have a choice. We actually, either give them possibility to stabilize the country, or we don't do that, and we have something that we have in Afghanistan.
How do you make sure that the sanctions against Russia will be forceful enough? You're talking about price cap, about financial sector, when you still need unanimity.
Yes, this is true. We need everybody on board, and we know that America is also working with the sanctions for Russia if they don't agree. And we have seen clearly from the call yesterday that they don't agree. And of course, we are democracies. It takes time, and it is difficult and becoming more difficult. But I don't think we have a choice. We need to put more pressure. Yeah.
Sorry, the Austrian foreign minister yesterday sent you a letter starting an initiative to get a ceasefire going in Ukraine. 14 other EU countries have supported this letter. What do you say to the letter of the Austrian foreign minister?
Like I said when we had the discussion, it takes two to want peace. It only takes one to want war. And Russia clearly wants war, whereas Ukraine wants peace. So in order to make Russia want peace, also we need to put more pressure on Russia.
After 50 years fight between Turkey and Turkey, right now the new process, peace process, do you think this is important for the Middle East and for
Yes, this is important. This is one of the rare good news from the region that there is more stability there.
How can you still believe in sanctions when we were at the 17th package and nothing worked to stop Russia?
Well, they haven't really proceeded with their goals either. I mean, this war has been going on for 3 years, and they haven't achieved what they want to achieve. I mean, their losses on their side are quite grave. I think what we see from the reports is that now they're coming to the point where they actually have to rely on their production that they are doing now, not the supply chains that were functioning before. So I think the importance of the sanctions will be even more grave or severe. And today we have the intelligence reports about the Russian economy as well, how they are affecting. Russians want us to think that, sanctions are not working, they're hurting you more than they're hurting us. This is not true. We see this from the intelligence reports. Of course, they are very good in propaganda. They always have been, so we have to keep this in mind. But we see that actually they are not doing that well.
You're calling for the United States now to impose more sanctions. Do you want the United States now to move forward with more sanctions against Russia?
We heard from I think it was last week, when America said that, if Russia doesn't agree on, full and unconditional ceasefire, then there are going to be, consequences. So we want to see those consequences also from the U.S. side. We really haven't seen, the pressure on Russia from these talks.
How hard is it to work?
Majority of member states, or would a significant number be enough for you to feel
my view doesn't really matter here, because I need to hear from the member states what are their views. I know from some of their views, but I don't know everybody. So we will have a very open discussion. My view right now is that we need to do everything that the humanitarian aid would reach the people in Gaza. This is our first priority right now. Then all the other things come after that. Thank you.
About Syria, the last thing I representative, does the American administration decision, Mr. Trump decision, personal decision, to lift the sanctions over Syrian new regime contributed to the discussion today, to reviewing the EU map about sanctions? Is there any kind of
you have been following this very closely since January, and you know all that we have been talking about lifting the sanctions, and not only talking, but actually also lifting the sanctions already from January. We have been doing this before than anybody else, and from the last Foreign Affairs Council that we had the discussion and we were preparing for the lifting of sanctions. So it is positive to see that other players like US is also considering lifting of the sanctions, but we have been doing this work for quite some time already. Thank you, and see you at the press conference.
In Washington and spoke to the congressman senators on the Hill where the sanction package is